Welcome back to our channel, dear friends. We always love sharing these moments with you, diving into the heart of Port Charles and the real lives behind our favorite faces. Let us get right into the thick of things, because there is so much to unpack today. You know, there is an old saying that you think you understand someone completely right up until the very moment you realize you actually do not know them at all. I have been thinking about that a lot lately, especially when it comes to the incredible Steve Burton. For decades, we have watched him bring the iconic, brooding Jason Morgan to life on General Hospital. We have invited him into our living rooms, cried with him, cheered for him, and felt like he was a part of our own extended families. But behind the scenes, the rumor mill has been spinning out of control with some of the wildest stories I have ever heard about his life off the screen. It is almost dizzying trying to separate fact from fiction, but I just had to sit down and share all these feelings with you. When you love a show and a character as much as we do, every little whisper feels like a heavy weight on the heart. And right now, the whispers about Steve are deafening. As many of you loyal viewers might remember, Steve took a rather sudden and mysterious break from acting back in March. I remember the exact feeling of panic that washed over me when that news broke. He did not give us a crystal clear reason at the time, which naturally sent everyone into a tailspin of worry and speculation. When a beloved actor steps away without a big explanation, our minds automatically go to the darkest places. But as the dust settled, the pieces of the puzzle started to come together, and many folks began to believe that this break was deeply tied to his personal life. It turns out, Steve simply wanted to spend more time at home with his beautiful new wife, Michelle Lundstrom. And honestly, looking at it from the perspective of a woman who values family above all else, who could possibly blame him for wanting that peace? There is something deeply touching about a man wanting to pause the chaotic world just to be present with the woman he loves. I think anyone who has ever been married or in a long-term relationship can understand that desperate need to just shut the front door, lock the world outside, and focus on the family inside those four walls. Steve made it known that his priority was his home life with Michelle. It makes me think about how much Jason Morgan, his on-screen counterpart, has always sacrificed his own personal happiness for the sake of sunny Corinthos and the dangerous mob life. Jason is always the protector, always the one taking the bullet, always the one putting duty above love. To see Steve choosing love and home in his real life feels like a beautiful, poetic contrast to Jason's endless tragic sacrifices. But as happy as I am for his personal joy, the selfish fan inside me cannot help but worry about what this means for us, the viewers. And that worry only grows when we look at what else Steve has been pouring his heart into lately. For years now, we have all noticed how incredibly passionate he is about health, wellness, and fitness. He has always been a picture of health, but lately it seems like this side hustle is turning into his main focus. He has been actively promoting his business as a health and fitness expert, and he looks so genuinely happy doing it. Now that he has teamed up with Michelle in life, a lot of fans are starting to whisper that Steve might be looking to leave the acting world behind entirely to become a full-time fitness coach. The idea that he might transition into a completely different career is wonderful for his health and happiness, but it leaves a gaping hole in the hearts of General Hospital fans. Can you imagine Port Charles without Jason Morgan riding in on his motorcycle to save the day? But the story does not stop at just wanting a career change or more family time. There is a much more complicated layer to all of this, and it honestly breaks my heart a little bit to hear it. According to reports floating around from places like Radar Online, Steve's ex, Cherie Burton, has hinted that the actor might be facing some real financial hurdles. Now, I always take these kinds of tabloid rumors with a grain of salt, because we know how things can be twisted in the media. However, there is a ring of truth to the struggles he has mentioned himself in the past. One of the biggest reasons he supposedly packed up and moved away from California was simply because the Golden State had become entirely too expensive. The cost of living there is absolutely astronomical, and even a successful television star is not immune to the financial squeeze that so many regular Americans are feeling right now. It is so refreshing in a way, to hear that a big television star is worried about the cost of living. We often put these actors on pedestals, assuming they live in untouchable bubbles of wealth and luxury. But Steve's reported struggles make him feel like a neighbor you could chat with over the backyard fence. I cannot even begin to imagine the physical and mental toll that kind of financial stress and geographical distance takes on a person. Steve himself has reportedly said that living in California was making him miserable. Between the outrageously high cost of everyday living and the absolute nightmare of commuting 20 hours a week just to get to the studio, the man was simply exhausted. 20 hours a week just in a car or on a plane, that is a part-time job all on its own. When you hear things like that, you start to view his situation with so much more compassion. He is not just an actor walking away from a role. He is a hard-working man trying to find some peace and sanity in a world that demands far too much of his time and energy. Of course, whenever there is a major change in a beloved public figure's life, people are quick to point fingers and look for someone to blame. Earlier this year, the rumor mill was churning out stories that Steve was leaving the show specifically to focus on his marriage to Michelle. And while nobody knows the absolute truth of what goes on behind closed doors, social media was ablaze with accusations. People were saying that Michelle was the one pulling the strings, that she was demanding he spend more time at home rather than on the General Hospital set. It is so easy for fans to get defensive and blame the new wife when they feel like they are losing their favorite character. It is a protective instinct we have for the show we love. But I always feel a pang of sadness when I see those kinds of unfair judgments being thrown around without any real proof. And the truth of the matter seems to be the exact opposite of those nasty rumors. Michelle has been nothing but fiercely supportive of Steve and his incredible career. Just recently, she took to her Instagram account to shout her pride from the rooftops after Steve was nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award. She wrote the most beautiful, touching tribute to him. She said that his nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor was completely deserved and a true testament to the hard work, dedication, and absolute heart he has poured into the character of Jason Morgan all these years. That does not sound like a woman who is trying to drag her husband away from his passion. That sounds like a proud, loving partner who sees the blood, sweat, and tears he gives to his craft every single day. Hearing Michelle praise his dedication to Jason Morgan really struck a chord deep inside my soul, because she is absolutely right. Steve has given everything to this character. Jason is not just a mob enforcer. He is the quiet, brooding heart of Port Charles. He is the man who speaks volumes with just a single glance. When I think about the current storyline playing out on our screens right now, the timing of all these real-life rumors is almost too perfect and, quite frankly, a little terrifying for us devoted fans. Right now, on the show, Jason and Sonny Corinthos are actively trying to figure out a way to leave the criminal underworld behind them. They are trying to step away from the danger, the violence, and the constant threat to their loved ones. It is honestly giving me goosebumps to see how art is imitating life in such a profound way. In the real world, we have Steve Burton trying to step back from the exhausting grind of Hollywood, looking for a simpler, healthier, more peaceful life with his family and his fitness business. And on our television screens, we have Jason Morgan desperately trying to find an exit strategy from the only life he has known for decades. The parallels are just too striking to ignore. The hurdles that Jason and Sonny are facing on the show are incredibly dangerous. Leaving the mob is never as simple as just walking out the door. There are enemies everywhere, secrets waiting to be exposed, and debts that always come due. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife, and every time Jason is on screen, I find myself holding my breath, wondering if this is the beginning of the end. The stakes have never been higher for Jason. He is so fiercely determined to protect the people he loves as he tries to carve out this new path. It makes my heart ache because we all know that happiness and peace are so rarely allowed to flourish in Port Charles without a heavy price being paid. If the rumors are true and Steve Burton really is preparing to leave General Hospital soon, then this current storyline is setting the stage for one of the most explosive and heartbreaking exits in daytime television history. The obsession with this storyline right now is completely justified. We are all sitting on the edge of our seats, analyzing every look, every word, and every hesitation Jason has on screen. Is he going to make it out alive? Will his attempt to leave the mob cost him the ultimate price? The thought of losing Jason Morgan again, and perhaps for good this time, brings genuine tears to my eyes. He is the anchor for so many characters, and losing him would shift the entire foundation of the show we hold so dear. So, as we watch these next few weeks unfold, with all the dangerous hurdles Jason and Sonny are facing, I am going to cherish every single moment Steve Burton is on my screen. Whether he is moving away to escape the California taxes, focusing on his fitness empire, or just wanting to hold his wife's hand on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, I wish him nothing but the absolute best. He has earned his happiness after giving us so many years of brilliant entertainment, but oh, my heart will certainly mourn the loss of Jason Morgan if this truly is his final chapter. We will keep watching, keep hoping, and keep sharing these emotional moments together, because that is what makes being a fan of this show so incredibly special.